Hey guys, welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to cover what I consider to be the most efficient way to prepare recording sessions as well as dub deliveries in Pro Tools using only keyboard shortcuts. This workflow not only saves a ton of time, but also minimizes the risk of mistakes and keeps your session look clean and professional. We're going to cover everything from organizing your assets before you even open Pro Tools to streamlining your imports, naming, as well as cleaning up your session with barely any mouse clicks. And be sure to stick around until the end, where I will show you a way to make your workflow even smoother with a custom automation macro and an alternative method that can eliminate session prep altogether. Before we even open Pro Tools, let's first talk about organization. This part is crucial, and it's something that every professional composer and music team does. For each cue, we will need to create a dedicated folder with 3 subfolders: an audio folder, a MIDI folder, as well as a timecode folder. The audio folder contains all of your stems, final mix, and click tracks. Now, note that when you're preparing for a recording session, not only do you need to print your quarter note clicks, but also your eighth note clicks, which essentially is your double speed click track, as this is frequently used during a recording session. The MIDI folder holds your MIDI file of the corresponding cue, and the timecode folder is essentially an empty folder named with the session start timecode. This just makes it super easy to double check for sync accuracy after importing your audio files. Taking the time to set up your folder like this makes importing assets later much easier and far less error prone. Alright, now let's get into Pro Tools. The first thing to do is to copy and paste the cue ID when creating the Pro Tools session. We usually add the letter PR at the end of the naming convention to indicate that this is a pre-record session. Make sure that the sample rate, bit depth, and frame rate are all set up properly. Then press Shift-Command-I to open up the Import Audio dialog. Navigate to the folder where it contains all of the corresponding audio files. Make sure to choose Copy, not Add. This ensures that all audio files are brought into your session folder. Now, here's something that not everybody knows. Once you've selected the files that you want to import, you can use Command-C to copy them into the session folder, and then Command-O to initialize the import, all without touching the mouse. It's generally faster and more consistent. Then, when Pro Tools prompts you to spot by timecode, just hit Return to confirm. And with all of the imported tracks still selected, press Shift-Control-R to batch rename the tracks so that the track names simply reflect the instrument group. Next, we will bring the tempo map. Now, since all of the audio tracks are still highlighted, the insertion point is already set. So, import the MIDI file at that position by hitting Command-Option-I, navigate to the MIDI folder, and then select the MIDI file. Now, it's important to note that Pro Tools does not have a default shortcut for deleting tracks, so I highly recommend setting up your own custom shortcut for this, because we're going to use it next. And once the MIDI tracks are in, select all of them and delete. We only need the tempo map. The rest is unnecessary clutter. Then, we're going to clean up the clip list by pressing Shift-Command-U to select unused clips, and then Shift-Command-B to bring up the Remove dialog. Hold Option-Return to clear them out. Now we're going to organize the tracks. I like to move my final mix as well as the click tracks to the top and give one color for them and another color for the stems at the bottom. Then, tap to the beginning of the click track, turn on Tap to Transient by hitting Command-Option-Tab, and step through each transient in the click track. If the click was printed correctly and the tempo map was exported properly, each transient should land perfectly on the grid. That's your confirmation that the click is accurate. Unless you're only prepping your own cues and you have a rock-solid stem printing workflow, it's essential to check that your stems and final mix reference correctly. In other words, if you A-B them, they should sound identical. This is especially critical when you're working with stems from other composers or members of the music team. Always do your due diligence. Here's another pro tip that really sets you apart. Because Pro Tools does not dynamically resize track names, longer names can get cut off. So to help the engineer on the other end, copy the full track name into the comment section. This extra step can make a huge difference in a fast-paced recording or dubbing session. I actually made a custom Keyboard Maestro shortcut that automates this process. It copies each track's name into its comment field. All I need to specify is how many times Keyboard Maestro is supposed to repeat this process. So this makes going above and beyond super easy. Lastly, mute all of your stems and then press Command-2 to open the session info window. This gives the engineer instant access to the sample rate, bit depth, as well as the frame rate the moment they open the session. It's just a nice professional touch. Now let's talk about preparing dub delivery sessions. Everything we just covered applies to recording session prep, where each cue lives in its own individual Pro Tools session. For dub delivery, the workflow is a little bit different. Instead of having one session per cue, a dub session contains all the cues for the project in a single Pro Tools session. The cues are checkerboarded, and unlike in the pre-record session, we skip importing the tempo map entirely. A very important thing to remember is that whenever you're printing stems for a pre-record session or dub delivery, you must print the entire stem layout, even if certain stems are empty for a given cue. And any empty stem should include the word empty at the end of its name. This ensures a consistent session layout and prevents any misunderstanding or confusion on the engineer's end. If an engineer sees a blank stem without the word empty, they will likely assume that something went wrong. The only scenarios where it's appropriate to remove empty stems are either when the engineer specifically instructed you to do so before sending out your pre-record or dub delivery session, or if you're printing and prepping your synth master session for your mixing engineer to mix your score. We're going to cover that workflow in more detail in a separate video. In Pro Tools, instead of using create new tracks during audio import, you will want to create at least 2 sets of tracks that cover the stems, final mix, and click track for each cue in advance. And unlike in a pre-record session, you don't need to print the 8th note clicks for a dub delivery session. Switch Pro Tools into spot mode if you haven't done so already by pressing F3, and then import all audio files into the clip list only. From there, manually drag cues into the timeline to spot them at their embedded timecode positions. Tap to the beginning of each cue and create a new marker with its corresponding cue number by pressing Enter on the numeric keypad. Repeat this process to checkerboard all of the cues. I recommend working one cue at a time rather than importing all audio files at once to minimize the risk of mistakes. Color code the tracks accordingly if you haven't done so already. Also, check with the dubbing engineer whether you should import the production tracks as well. Now lastly, press Shift-Command-U to select any unused clips. This serves as a safety net to double check that you haven't accidentally missed out on any cues. Then open the Session Settings window by pressing Command-2. So while the asset prep and naming conventions remain the same, the import workflow and timeline layout are tailored to the needs of the dub stage. Hopefully these shortcuts help you prepare your Pro Tools sessions faster and with fewer mistakes. Now, if you're interested in eliminating all this session prep entirely and going straight from your writing session to stems and Pro Tools sessions that are ready to be delivered, check out this video right here where I will show you how to streamline your workflow even further by printing your stems directly from your sequencing DAW into Pro Tools. If you've enjoyed today's video, please like and subscribe and leave a comment down below. As always, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.